Hey folks, Paul Abernathy here. Welcome to another mobile Master of the NEC podcast. If you're not familiar with who I am, just Google me for a second. I'm the CEO and president of Electrical Code Academy Incorporated. We put out all those educational courses. We also run Fast Track's Tube, which is the premier electrical video platform. If you haven't seen that yet, go to fasttrackstube.com. But I was asked a question. This is Let's Ask Paul kind of segment here. I was asked, what's the biggest... the guy sent me something, and he's an electrical contractor, and it seems like people always question his pricing and all this kind of stuff. And he asked me, what is the one thing that you can do, in my opinion, that can help justify your pricing and get away from people questioning your pricing? And one of the things that we had a conversation, really was a call that the guy made. And I put out there a lot of times on my podcast, you can call me and ask advice and all. So he asked me, so I asked him a little bit about his company. It's just him and another guy. And I said, well, what's your image like? And he says, what do you mean? What do you mean by image? I'm like, okay, well, what do your trucks look like? What do your vehicles look like? What do you dress like? How do you go to a call? He says, does that really matter? I mean, I'm really skilled, and I don't know the guy, so I'm going to assume he's very skilled at what he does. As one of those electricians that has that knowledge. But then he proceeded to tell me that he, how he dresses and what he wears, and it really doesn't matter. And I was kind of listening to his focus on his image. And I said, people you have a first impression that you have to make with people. You can overcome a first impression. You've heard me talk about that before. You can most certainly overcome a bad first impression. I mean, you can. It's tougher. I'm not going to lie. It's tougher to overcome a first impression if you make that first impression pretty damn bad. If it's kind of benign, then you can kind of get past it. But I know people that have told me that they pull up in a raggedy vehicle or something, they got trash falling out of their vehicle when they open the door. It's disorganized in the back. Not that you think that people are going to see that, but sometimes the customer will walk out, look at it. Anyway, how you carry yourself, how you have a conversation with them, you be very professional up front. You don't try to befriend them like they're your buddy. You treat them as an equal, but you treat them you talk to them like you're the knowledge source, not arrogantly, but you're giving the information, and if they offer something, you acknowledge them. Like sometimes they'll give advice on something, or the customer will say something like they think they know something, and your response should be, oh, that's awesome, thank you for that info. All that time. It shouldn't be, no, that's not it, no, that's not. I guess what I'm saying is image. And so here's what I told the guy. I said, your prices, he told me his prices, they seemed reasonable prices. I said, but you're still getting pushback from that. I said, I think it would be helpful if you spent a little bit of money in your image. In other words, making sure your vans have your name on it, whether it's magnet mounts or whatnot. I said, I think you should have company shirts. I'm not against things like blue jeans as long as they're nice, but I'm also a khaki guy. So when I was in contracting, always nice shirts and khaki. Yeah, I know. Occasionally we'd have to crawl in an attic or a crawl space or whatever, but I always had coveralls to do the slide on if I was going underneath. I guess my point was I set the image, and in the professionalism, then it wasn't an issue. People didn't question my pricing. Not going to say never had somebody question something, but at the end of the day, you're paying me for my knowledge, and that type of thing. So if you go in there with that mentality that they're paying you for your knowledge, I mean, you're worth it. But you also have to, you can't just walk the walk, you got to talk the talk. You have to carry yourself as professional. If you're doing estimates, you have a nice clipboard, nice one of those ones that you put in, that open up, that you have stuff in it, and just look the part. That's the biggest thing for me is If you want to command top dollar, then you can't look like you're just a ragtag electrician. Remember, you've got special skills. If you're an electrician, it's worth your salt. Then you know, every day, I know people tell me they just pull cable, they just bend pipe. But if you think about it, these are unique skills, and you're working in the National Electrical Code every day, whether you think that you are or not. It just so happens that you know certain things that you've just gotten used to, whether it's the securing and supporting rules in 334.30 for A&M cable. Remembering .30 is securing and supporting for most of your wiring method articles. I mean, you just know these things. Working clearances, 110.26. You know these things, and it's not because you spend all your time in the code book, but you do it because you're just familiar with it. But these are the reasons why you're getting your pay. I've known plenty of electricians that were just crackerjack troubleshooters, could solve things in a heartbeat, but they didn't present themselves well. They didn't come well, shaved or well manicured. They like to be, I don't know, and don't let this offend anybody, but they like to be more hillbilly, scruffy, half-grown in beard. Be honest with you, I'm here to make money. I'm here in business to make money. It's image, to me, image is everything. And you can say, well, I don't care what they think of me, or if you cuss all the time in your presentation to somebody or whatever. I'm not saying we cater to this woke community, but I'm saying I'm here to provide a service and make money. And that's what the world's all about. I mean, I don't care what you say. You can say, well, life's not all about money. Yet the moment that you turn away, you need money to pay rent. You need money to pay your mortgage. You need money to pay your car insurance. You need money to pay your car payment. Everything is money. So if you try to say money's not everything, then you're living in a fool's world. Because it is. Now, life, happiness, managing those two things and having a personal life and enjoying the fruits of your labor are two different things. But when I'm working my 9 to 5 or whatever y'all are working, that's your focus. Your focus is money. Because the more that you can make during that focus period, that you can spend during the non-focus period where you're enjoying life or you're doing things that you enjoy doing. Okay? So you can have both. So, as a contractor for years, I was focused. Monday through Friday, I'm focused on the work. Always, and I'm not talking about having a 5 o'clock shadow. That's different. I'm talking about never let it get scruffy. Never let it look like somebody's paying me money. And you think, well, I don't care. They're paying me for my skills. First impressions are they don't know what your skills are. But they can develop their feelings towards you, whether or not they'll call you back, whether or not they'll refer you to somebody. So, my company, when I had it, is that any employee that had to be with me couldn't go past the 5 o'clock shadow. They had to shave. They had to stay neat. They had to wear khakis. They had to wear their polo shirts. They all had their coveralls. And look, as a company, when I made that expectation, I felt it was my responsibility to provide them with those things. Okay? Now, we also did have the T-shirts with our names on them, and I thought that if they're professional-looking T-shirt, that's perfectly fine also. We had some really nice-looking T-shirts. So, screen printed and everything. But I provided coveralls. I provided the shirts. You don't have to do that, right? It's not something you have to do. But it's something that you want to do if you want to keep that look, that appearance, that professionalism, that I demand a price. And they might look at it as, well, this guy demands a price because look how nice he is. Look how he keeps everything neat. Takes pride in what he does. Also, there is a different level and class of electrician who always does the right thing, even when nobody's looking. There is a special class of electrician like that will do that. And that's the kind of electrician that I tend to focus on, is those that will always do the right thing, even when somebody's not looking, right? You're like, well, I'm going to make sure this is done right just because it needs to be done right. That's a special class of electrician. I would hope all electricians are focused that way, but they're not, obviously. Everyone's created differently. So, yeah, at the end of the day, you know, he asked me, and my advice was, if you're in business and it's just kind of clicking along and you're trying to figure out why I'm not getting return calls, why I'm not growing, maybe the mentality is to change your look, change your image. And you can do that in an instant. All it takes is some, obviously grooming, but changing your look. Getting some t-shirts or getting some polo shirts with your logo on it, making sure you do have a logo. Every business should have a logo of some sorts to put on stuff to brand yourself. And if you want to do in blue jeans, then make sure they're one of your policies is no holey jeans. It's got to look nice. In other words, you have to present the part. Personally, again, I was always work khakis like Dickies and a company t-shirt or polo. That was my thing. And all people that worked for me had to look that way. My vehicles had to be well organized, but I had to make it so that it was easier for my employees, people that worked with me, to keep it that way. So maybe you as an owner or in your own vehicle, you need to put shelving in or bins or something. You need to create a way to make it easier for them to keep that image so that it looks professional, so everybody looks the part, especially if somebody peeks in the truck. And also, I'll say it this way, don't be afraid to toot your own horn. If you have an employee that has a nice looking vehicle, snap a picture of it, snap a picture of them, share it on social media. Make your people that work for you proud and happy to work for you. And if they're not, and you determine that there's some dissension in the ranks, people are unhappy, that's the first sign that you should do something to change that atmosphere. Whether it's give bonuses. You'd be surprised how a simple $100 bonus to Employee of the Week or something can change an attitude. And that's for a different episode. We talk about changing attitudes, but we live in an amazing world. We have the best profession in the world, being an electrician. Take a lot of pride in it. You don't go to a doctor's office and see a doctor looking like a scrub. The more I can tell people and what I told them, the more you can elevate yourself to look professional. Don't be afraid to have that nice polo and those nice Dickies. You can get a nice pair of coveralls that you keep in the truck that you can put on and keep everything looking okay. I get it. Hot in the summer. You're down in Alabama. You're down in Florida. It gets hot. I get it. But there are some nice coveralls, Tyveks, that breathe very well. The point is, it's par for the business, and it's par for looking professional. And then when it comes time to ask for the money that you deserve, people will give you much more respect. This is proven, right? So again, first impressions, they're important. Can you overcome a bad first impression? Absolutely, but it's an uphill battle the whole way, and you really should be focusing on getting the job done and looking professional than trying to recover from a bad first impression. Okay? And I always say, make it a very point to all your employees, you do not cuss in front of a customer. Okay? You can say, I don't care, I'll do whatever I want to do, it's my business. Hey, you do you, but I'm telling you, today, if you want to be in business, you're going to have to understand that there are barriers, and people just don't like the arrogance. They don't like the cussing. They don't like the smoking a cigarette in front of the customer. Hold off. You don't have to do that. Okay? Remember, people that work for themselves say they don't have any bosses. That's not true. You have tons of bosses. Every customer of yours is a boss, and you need to please them. Okay? Anyway, so my thoughts for the day. You can like it or dislike it. You can agree to disagree. You can hate it. You can whatever. I don't really care. I do what I want to do because I'm the boss. There you go. Till next time, stay safe. God bless.